as a family.
We fished a lot.
We would all come a lot of times to Pymatumi and fish over on the rocks.
You know,
My older brother told us that Daryl used to feed the dog eggs all the time, and he killed the dog.
really?
Yeah.
See, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Junie told me that story. Yeah.
Huh. He never told me that because I guess he didn't want to traumatize me. Fine. And that's the Jones homestead. Always had a meal and always had a roof over our heads, you know, so we had a lot of fun in that house.
The world is ours whenever we're together. There ain't a place I like to be instead. Moving down a crowded avenue to it. Anything we like to do. There's always lots of things that we can see. We can be anyone we'd like to be. All those happy people we could meet just moving on a Sunday afternoon. Really couldn't get away too soon. No, 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 no.
I think when you talk about how we got started, it would probably all start with my family. My father was not a baseball player. He was actually a football player and actually played semi-pro with it's called the Meadville Zippers. But he was very influential in our baseball careers because he was one of the ones that started Suburban Little League.
My older brothers were 9 and 10 years older than us, so we kind of had a couple of role models ahead of us that we could be mentored as far as sports is concerned. And but our father was always our coach, and he was a real good coach. He never pressed us, never put pressure on us, and taught us to have fun.
If I went outside and I said, "Dad, I want you to hit me ground balls," he would hit me until I had little welts on my chest because he just, not that he was punishing us or anything, but that's what I chose to do. He wanted to make sure that we were at the best at everything that we could do.
We actually had enough kids on our half of the town to put sports teams together, and we played wiffle ball, baseball, all summer long.
We had an apple tree about where this old garage is now, and you know, the apples would become ripe, they would fall down, and so what we would do, all the extra apples, we would throw at that telephone pole, and we would always have contests to see who could hit the telephone pole. My brother said Sandlot, the movie Sandlot, that was this neighborhood right here.
The biggest thing for me was not to keep up with the kids in my class, was to keep up with my brother, who really strived to be better, a real good athlete. He made it easier for me because by keeping up with him being one of the better athletes in his class, in his school, I just kept up with him and kind of rode the wave with him. Through high school, we played together, which was really nice to be able to have your brother play with you.
I was actually the athletic director and also the high school coach for both Daryl and Lynn Jones. Back in the period I started teaching and coaching my very first year in 1966. And so then I had them from 1966 through 1970, which was Daryl's last 3 years, and Lynn, I had him all 4 years. Those were all great years. We won the championship all 4 years. So that was a good way to start off my baseball coaching career. They were very well known, very popular, always great students. There was never any issues with eligibility of anything of that nature.
Darryl was the type of person that when he went after something, he went with all his heart. Me, I was a little bit different. I was happy-go-lucky. I kind of just hung out with him. As we got a little bit older, I was the one who partied more.
I always had a dream of playing in the big leagues. I know to some people that sounded far-fetched, but ever since when I was in high school, I had this dream. It wasn't that I was going out and telling people I was going to play in the big leagues, but deep in my mind, I always had an idea that I was going to be a Major League Baseball player.
Once we went away to college, Darryl took it to the next level. He was so serious about it. That's all he wanted to do was play baseball. Where Darryl went to Westminster, I went to Teal College to play basketball. Basketball was always my #1 love.
In 1971, went to Madison, Virginia to play in the Shenandoah Valley League. I knew that there was always racism that existed, but I never saw outright, and that isn't that far south, you know, but I never had witnessed that before. Now, I remember calling home and talking to my mom and said, you know, I don't know if I want to be here. And she says, well, you know, what are you there for? And it was always that, well, I was there because it was going to be a stepping stone for me in my career.
After my junior year, I had talked to Darryl, and I didn't want to work. So I checked with him to see through his contacts if I could go down and play summer baseball. And I did. I had an opportunity to go down there and play. Darryl at that time had gone from the Yankees to their half-season league to Fort Lauderdale, and he was at that time in that league at West Haven. And so I, for a brief period, got a chance to play against him.
The one time I remember is my dad did not like flying. He never flew in his life. And so, but he liked baseball so much, you know, and he wanted to see us play. His first trip on a commercial airlines was to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and it went pretty good. And but he'd rather be in a car than be in an airplane.
7.5 years in the minor leagues is a long time. I was 27 when I finally went to the big leagues. My father was visiting me, watching me play. And I got a call that morning from George Sisler, who was the general manager of the Columbus Clippers. And he says, Darryl, he says, pack your bags, you're going to New York tonight. I turned to my dad and I says, Dad, I just got called to the big leagues. So up on that's the lineup card, you know, up on the wall there that they give me as a commemorative. And I'm pretty proud of the fact that, you know, Mickey Rivers, Willie Randolph, Chris Chambliss. I was actually there because Reggie Jackson had an Achilles problem, and that's when I got called up to fill it in the lineup. No, I was no Reggie Jackson, but I could hold my own and I could hit in the big leagues. First at bat, I hit a fly ball to right field, so I was out. And my second at bat in the big leagues, I was facing Jerry Koosman, who was played with the Mets, and at that time he was with the Minnesota Twins. And he threw me a breaking pitch that kind of hung, and I got a double down the left field line my second at bat. And it was really kind of funny. I slid into second base. The people that were there, I got a standing ovation, and they put up on the scoreboard, this is Darryl Jones's first at bat. And I kind of had a flashback back to those Sandlot days of, you know, the playing ball in Harmonsburg, playing at Linesville High School, playing at Westminster College, all of the things that you've gone through. And it just was a quick flashback, and all of a sudden it was like, all right, I belong.
and I happened to walk in on a Saturday afternoon, and the game of the week was the New York Yankees. And coming up to plate was Darryl Jones. And that was really special because I was shocked, and I saw him standing there, and I saw him whipping that bat like he always did. He always had the quick swing from the backside and up the plate. And I thought, well, he finally made the full circle.
On a Sunday afternoon, really couldn't get away too soon. I can't imagine.
Well, you talked to me in spring training one year, and I had gone, we all have gone, many players have gone through the same thing, but you called me and you said, if I'm going to go back to Double-A this year, you said, I'm thinking about just packing it in.
Yeah.
And because you said you weren't going to spend another year in Double-A. And then that was the year you got your break and went to Triple-A with Indianapolis.
I didn't think I was ever going to get out of Double-A because it was very difficult for me, but I had enough success that they allowed me to get out of there. I ended up going to Triple-A, and I had made a decision for myself that this was going to be my last year of professional baseball. I was going to make the most of it. I just wanted to have fun. This was going to be my major leagues. I ended up having the best year I ever had in my life. And I was put on a major league roster. It was the first time I had gone to spring training with a big league club. And the first day I went there, Les Moss, who was the manager, told me, don't worry about a thing, you're going to be my fourth outfielder. Oh, okay. So I spent the next 5 years in the major leagues with the Detroit Tigers. I had a very good rookie year. I was Tiger Rookie of the Year.
Really couldn't get away too soon. I can't imagine anything that's better. The world is ours whenever we're together.
Just got it in my mind somehow that I wanted to see one of our local guys make good play out there in the big leagues. So I decided to not let the lack of a vehicle hold me back, and I hitchhiked out to Detroit to see Lynn. That would have been probably his second year with the Tigers. Got out there in time for the game. The weather wasn't looking very good, and sure enough, before game time, the skies opened up and it just poured, and the game got postponed.
I had signed in 1984 with the Kansas City Royals as a free agent.
Sunny days this way, we're gonna
Outfielder Lynn Jones.
The following year, we just happened to roll along and get hot at the right time with the Royals, and the next thing you know, we're World Series champs.
Remarkable job by this Kansas City club coming back to win 3 in a row.
They call up and said, "Hey, you're in the New York Times." I met President Reagan.
Lynn Jones, Steve Belmoni, all of the Royals are there today. That's Buddy Black.
on a Sunday afternoon. Really couldn't get away too soon.
This was at 1985 when we won the World Series. That can of beer right there, I have one of those in the room in there. Can of beer, still unopened.
We all look a lot younger in this picture. This was Lynn when he won the World Series. against the Kansas City Royals. He asked me if I would hold his World Series trophy while he was gone for the winter months. So I was very proud that he allowed me to have that, and that's certainly a special memory I have about Lynn allowing me to do that.
I had had some prior injuries with a knee where I had to actually have, fluid, drained off of my knee and things like that. But I ran into a wall catching a baseball, and it aggravated it. I just always had pain with it, and I tried to work and to work and to work. And I don't think I was ever released from the Yankees probably until 2 years later, when I just told them, I says, I'm not going to make it back. And so, yeah, it was tough. It was tough for me. I adjusted after that, and as you look back and you'll say, hey, look at the percentage of players that ever play in the big leagues, and who did I play for? I could have played for so many at-bats with the Cleveland Indians, but I played for the greatest organization that there is in baseball, the New York Yankees. And to this day, I know I have a baseball in the Yankee Museum that has my name on it, and as one of the players that competed for the New York Yankees. So something that I'm proud of, and I got there because it was the help of a lot of people. Am I proud to be a Yankee? Absolutely.
Sunday afternoon.
State Farm Insurance, Darryl speaking, may I help you?
Really couldn't get away too soon. I can't imagine anything that's better. The world is ours whenever we're together.
Lake knew that.
I'm
right?
trying to sell my antique baseball cards. You know anybody? I got some 50s and 60s before this boy was born.
I just think I'm very lucky, very fortunate to be in, little guy from Harmonsburg, Pennsylvania, being able to, reach the pinnacle of baseball, and very lucky, very lucky.
We can see we can be anyone we'd like to be. And all those happy people we could meet just moving on a Sunday afternoon.
But the good thing was Alexis and Lisa, Alexis, my middle daughter, they were able to be with me when we won the World Series in Boston. So it was a good experience for me, but it was even the better experience for them. What I do now is I give back to Teal, just like Darryl gives back to Allegheny.
With us coaching now in the college level, I think that's one of the things that young kids, everything's always the end result. Was it a hit? And that's really not always the things that you should be worried about.
I could be fishing, which I love to fish. I can be on Pymatuming Reservoir or Shenango Reservoir in just a matter of minutes.
They're just genuine people, and that's one of the things that we grew up with, and I think maybe one of the things that gravitated me back here and to stay here.
It's been good. It's been good.
On a Sunday afternoon, really couldn't get away too soon. I can't imagine anything that's better. The world is ours whenever we're together. There ain't a place I like to be instead of moving down a me just moving on a Sunday afternoon. Really couldn't get away too soon. No, 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 no.
I like small town. I like not being around traffic.
I'm still a hometown boy here.
There was one time that I enjoyed that excitement in New York and in different places, but I'm happy that this is the place that I call home.
I feel it coming closer.